What's up, Element family? This is Coach Justin here coming at you. It's Tuesday, the 17th of November, and we are one day away from our 2-week lockdown. Hopefully, that's all it is. Just to give a little heads up, I am going to move this class to 6 o'clock for a while because that fits better with the fact that we're not actually having class. And then so once we get back to class, it will revert back to 5 o'clock. But for now, we're going to move to 6 starting tomorrow. Okay, just wanted to give you that heads up, and I'll put that in the announcement tomorrow as well. So today we're going to continue our top series from the turtle position, because there's lots of good stuff we can do from the turtle position. So let's get it going. All right. So yesterday we talked about a few chokes from the north-south turtle position. So I've got Bob here, and he's set up correctly. We had the 10-finger choke, we had the guillotine choke, and we had the rolling loop choke from the front. Now remember, when you're in top turtle position, ideally, you're not just on your knees, right? You want to put pressure on your opponent so they can't move very easily. If they want to roll, if they want to stand up, if you're sprawled on them, then they're not going to move very easily. So I think it's a good idea to practice always just getting your opponent and sprawling up like this, and then working your arms otherwise. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go on a knee. Again, if I'm here like this, I'm still pretty good. But of course, if my opponent's good at escaping, they can run underneath. So if you run the same side arm, so like if I'm on this side, I think it's better to think of what leg, what can I block, what can I stop. So if I set up, remember I'm kind of I talked about this yesterday. The back's kind of split into 4 quadrants that go down the middle and across the armpit. All right. If your body's in the front 2 quadrants, then you need to have your overhook side, the side that goes by his head, the farther away. And so if you're in this quadrant, this arm should be in this quadrant, and then this arm should be in this quadrant. So it should be over the head, under the arm, all right? And your chest is in this 3rd quadrant. There isn't anything going on in this quadrant over here, okay? So if I had a cross on the back here like this, then you have a quadrant here where your chest is going to be, and then your arm should be in the quadrant next to that, the other front quadrant, and then your other arm should be in the back quadrant. So that's pretty straightforward, all right? Now, a good way to think about this too is if I'm here like this and I want to post, but I don't want to sprawl, right? If I post like this and kind of drive, then my opponent can still grab this leg, okay? If you're not sprawling straight back, and you want to have a knee up, but you want to still keep like sprawling pressure, right? So it makes more sense, in my opinion, to actually sprawl with this leg here. So I'm actually going to use this leg because that keeps him from grabbing. And the great thing too is that if he grabs that same side leg, so I've got that leg that's closest to him, and he goes to grab that leg, that actually is a mistake on their part. They put themselves in a position that I can take advantage of. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. All right. But first I want to focus on, again, the basic positioning. So yesterday we talked about this. And if you're watching this live, it's going to be a little hard to do. But if you're watching the recording, then a drill here that works real well. And you can do this if you, maybe I could, add this as a reminder. Do a drill where you're coming from one side to the other, and you're setting into different positions. So if I start here like this, and I sprawl and I want to move, I'm not going to leave my hands here. My hands are going to come up and out, and they're going to replace as I come around. So I pass this quadrant. Now, this hand is in this quadrant, this hand's underneath. And I go back, and I replace. And if I keep going, my hand comes over, and I'm here. And if I went around the other way, I would continue to move that way and drill that move. So I just basically, 5 or 6 times around, just going around. As you go around, take your arms out and replace, take your arms out and replace as you're moving around to get your arms in the right positions for best control, okay? So remember, if you're in this quadrant, right? So if I'm in this quadrant here, it's real easy. This goes here, this goes here. If I move to this quadrant back here, then this goes here and this goes here. It's real easy to remember because it's really just like I said, there are 4 quadrants. You're only going to use 3. Whichever one your chest is on, your arms should be wrapped around the other 2. All right, and then the one across from that, from your body, is not being utilized. Okay, so I'll say that again tomorrow because I think it's very important to remember how your arms should be when you go for control. All right, that we will adjust our arms when we go for submission. So it's different in that situation. Now, if you're like me and maybe you're not super strong, so you can't sprawl for very long, or maybe you're larger and you can't sprawl for very long. Either way, like I said, you can do a one-legged sprawl, but if you do a one-legged sprawl, you want it to be the leg that is away from your whatever side you have around the body. Okay, so again, if I come in here like this, and I'm here and I'm here, and I want to add some pressure without coming up too much, I'm going to use this outside leg to post up and to drive like this, right? And mainly because if my opponent reaches for this leg with that arm, that's a mistake. And again, I'll show that in a minute. So if I'm here like this and I want to switch sides, right, I'm going to sprawl up, come down, and then come back here like this, right? And there's a good reason for that as well, besides the leg grab, is that if he does try to grab that correctly. So if I'm here, right, if I'm here, and he does try to grab this leg with that arm, my arm's already here blocking that attempt. So I don't need to worry about that happening. Okay. Okay. So now let's talk about some submissions and what we want to do to set up for them. So like I said, yesterday we focused a little bit on submissions that you can set up straight. Today we're going to talk about some submissions you're going to set up from a slightly diagonal position. Because most people aren't going to just stay here like this. This would be a good, like I said, if you're good at sprawling, that's how you want to attack, and that's great. You're gonna be here and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna be attacking the neck while you're doing that. But if you're a guy who likes to move to the side a little bit, then I'm gonna start attacking here. There are 2 ways to attack, 2 good ways, I should say, to attack this position from those slightly diagonal angles. So again, if I've got that cross on his back to separate into 4 quadrants, and I'm in this quadrant here, there's 2 things I can do. I can either drive one arm all the way through, or I can drive the other arm all the way through. Okay, so let's start with we'll start with the easier one, which is what we call the gator roll. Okay, so the gator roll works off of this arm going deep underneath. So if I'm in this quadrant here, right? I'm in the over under the overhook, the hook that I have over his shoulder. That's going to go deep underneath my opponent, and it's actually going to come through, and it's going to come underneath the armpit on the other side. All right. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to use instead of like just trying to connect your hands together, you're going to use the same side hand to sort of try to pull the arm away because you want to get it as deep underneath. Now this is also a good way, or a good attack a lot of times, because when people are defending, right, their arms are kind of arms aren't always like real tight up against their body, especially if you start messing around with stuff in here. Their arms can come up to defend, and also especially because you're not trying to come around the backside just yet. Most people don't clam up elbows in when they're in this turtle position unless you're around on the other side, because I know I don't. I don't need to clam up too much if my opponent's not coming into the outside to try to take my back or get the hooks in or something like that, which we will go over just on stage. So I'm going to use this hand to help sort of pull that arm toward me as I'm doing this. So I'm here, right? I'm putting pressure on my opponent. Instead of just sort of just driving this hand through, I'm actually pulling this arm in like this, so I can get the other arm through. So I'm going to go all the way through underneath, okay, like this. It's going to pop up over here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rear naked choke position. So I'm going to bring this arm inside like this, and then this is going to go on the back of the body like this. It's going to be a rear naked choke position across the back. In and of itself, it's not going to do anything. But when I roll, that's what's going to do the move. Okay, so I'm going to adjust Bob here a little bit to try to get more space for this roll. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go deep underneath like this, and I'm going to grab my own arm, and I'm going to grab the body here. So now I'm in that rear naked choke position. Okay. So my next move is I'm going to roll over my shoulder like this, and I'm going to keep rolling until they get here. All right. So that's my gator roll position. Now I'm going to start to move my feet, try to get up in my opponent's business while I'm pushing on their back. And this will eventually cause them to tap. The choke will cause them to tap. And if they try to run away, that's why I'm chasing them and trying to grab their foot if I can. And then once I'm in a leg position, then I'm gonna hike up and finish the choke. Okay? Might have lost an angle there, so I might try to hit it from a little bit closer, so maybe without a heavy bag for support, so I can just show the roll particular part. So again, I'll go from the other side. I know you guys saw the front part that way, yeah. But I'll show you what I'm doing here. So again, I'm trying to get my arm all the way through like this. And I'm gonna body lock around his head and his arm. All right, his head and his arm. And you'll notice I kind of am already leaning that direction. So that's usually the direction that you want to, well, you don't have to roll that direction because you're pulling that because you're taking his arm away, but it's much easier because you're already following that direction, so it's real hard for him to stop you. So that's why you follow that direction, and then you usually have to pull them over on top of you. Okay, so I'll do it from kind of closer, but then it'll move afar. So again, if I was doing it from this side, so now I've changed my angle a little bit. I'm gonna go under like this, grab my rear naked choke position like this, and then I'm gonna fall and roll. And in order to, like I said, in order to finish it, you need to come towards them. And again, I found that the arm down is going to be the correct position because one of the things, if you were trying to do this arm up like this, right, they can try to straighten their arm out this way and try to get out because they're going to try to take this space away, right? So if I'm the other way, so I'm going to go arm down like this. Now that arm's stuck in there. They can't go anywhere. So that's going to help with your choke. And my hand is on his back. So it's his hand on the back. It's going to keep him from trying to go flat, from trying to get away. I can use that hand to kind of pull my opponent in. And then I start to chase him on my side, because you're on your side in this move, so you get a leg. Then if they're still not tapping, which may happen, then you can pull on them and really arch into it, and you will eventually get your tap from there. Okay. Now, this move is easy in its simplicity, as it is a basic beginner move, but it can be difficult to pull off, mainly because your opponent usually won't let you push their arm that way. Okay, and so that's why we have the other way, which can become a choke. We're going to talk about this choke called the Darce choke, and I talked about it once before with half guard stuff, but I'm going to talk about it now because it's relevant to what we're doing as well. So that first choke, if you want to practice that, if you're watching this recording, pause it here, try that a couple of times, see how it works for you. This first couple of moves are really dependent on kind of your arms. Like, are your arms long enough? And if they're not long enough, can you close the space, right? So as you know in Jiu-Jitsu, not every submission works for everybody. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. In this case, maybe this doesn't work for you, and that's fine. But you want to practice it, and you want to know that it's there. So if your opponent starts pushing on your arms from the front to slide that arm all the way through, if they get it past your armpit and get that other arm inside, there's a really good chance that you're going to be done. So you got to watch out for that. All right. Now this next move is a little bit of a transition. It's still something that can be defended pretty easily. But again, if your arms are made for it, which some people's are, then it's going to be harder to defend. So in this situation, instead of going, so we're going to be in the same position. So I'm going to be here and here like this. And instead of going deep this way, I'm going to go deep the other way. All right. So instead, I'm going to go like this. Now it's okay. See how I've switched my knees? All right. If I can get this arm all the way through, it's okay that my knee's here because he can't reach back. My whole arm and body are blocking the reach back for the low single. So I was here, right? And I want to go deep. So maybe I even hold on to this arm, like I reach through and grab this arm and create space with my elbow based, and then come inside. Now, once I'm inside, most people are not going to be able to get rear naked choke grip on this side. This is a tougher side to get on because the hand's right here. So most people can block this. So we don't go for rear naked choke grip. We go for a funny grip. All right. This grip always gets people because of the way it feels. It is kind of an awkward grip. And it's like a gable grip because you're still doing this, but it's because of the positioning and what you end up doing, it actually feels kind of funny. So you're going to go through and underneath like this, and your hand is going to be palm towards you. And this hand is going to come in This is going to do our gable grip, our no thumb grip, palm to palm like this. And you're actually going to use the blade of your hand to push your opponent's head down so that you can pull them like this and get them off, get them over onto their side. All right, this is also a wrestling move that you can use when you want to dump somebody. So I'm going to go from the deep position. So I'm here, and I grab my hands together, and I'm going to use the blade of my hand like this to push down on their head. And once I've got down on their head, then I should be able to drive them here to their side. See how they've dumped to their side? Because I pushed down on their head, and I created that like weakness and pressure there. Now again, this doesn't necessarily work on everybody. In fact, some people, when you do this to them, they come right back up to their knees. So it's really important that once you do this, you actually lay in some pressure into their their chest. Finding the right pressure for that move is a little tricky at times, because if they get to their side and you start to put this in, they can come back up. If you push too hard, they'll go to their back, and then you'll be in side control, which isn't necessarily worse. It's different, definitely. But how you finish the Darce. Okay, so you can see how you can get here from side control. Some guy tries to push your knee, or tries to, create space using this arm, and boom, you come down in here like this. All right, this is the perfect place, perfect position, because I'll kind of show this from the side. Because I want to get my knee real close to their body. If I'm out here like this isn't going to work. Even if I'm turning correctly and getting the space I need, it's still not going to work because I'm creating too much space. When I come in, I really want to be knee up against their body as much as I can, because there's ways to escape this that require you that are underhook on the other side. And if my knee is inside like this, it's going to be real hard for them to underhook. Okay, so when I come down underneath, when I've taken them down using the wrist or the awkward position here, see how I'm like on top of them? I'm kind of not pushing too hard this way, because again, I don't want them to go to their back. And what I'm going to do then is, some people will try to push here, and that can work, but it's kind of tough because of the way the leverage has to work. So one of the tricks that I've seen that work real well is to actually grab the head and pull it up. All right, so what it looks like is if I'm on my back like this, and the guy grabs my head and he pull it like this. So it's not back, it's not forward, it's just up here like this. So what that does is, you need more space around the head in order to get the choke. Now, most people will try to push on this head here to get that more space, but you can get just as much space by lifting up. And the neck muscles are weaker this way than they are this way. You know that because people pulled down on your head before, and I'm sure you've been able to try to like posture this way. But if somebody pulls your head this way, it's real hard to like push back side to side. So that's the biomechanic we're working with here in this finish. All right, so again, I went deep. I made my connection here, and I used my blade of my hand on the back of their head to push their head down and flip them over. Now I'm here. All right, I haven't gotten that as far as I want to get it, so I'll pull up on the head, go deeper. Now I should be able to just slide my arm straight up, grab that, and then from here, I'm just going to come like this, get into this squish position, and then squeeze. Just pull my shoulder blades back, just like I was rear naked choking. I'm not trying to squeeze my arms together. I'm trying to pull my shoulder blades back and drive my chest into them. Okay? This should not be a slow choke. This should totally be like arm triangle or a regular triangle. Like everything just cinches up and they're done, right? Especially since your arm's in there. So I'll show that one more time for you guys from the hurdled position. All right, so I'm here, right? So I'm here and here, okay? And got this leg out because I want to base a little bit more, but I don't want to sprawl completely, right? And then I'm going to drive this arm through. Then I'm going to go here. Now your opponent's not going to fall over like Bob just did. Your opponent's going to be like this. All right. So once I'm here, I use the back of my hand, back of my blade, the blade of my hand to drive the head and drive till they fall. And then once they fall, I'm going to get my knee inside, lift up, arm through, slide my rear naked choke up, come here. I'm going to open my hips up, and I'm going to pull back to squeeze. Pull my shoulder blades back to squeeze. All right. Now, similar to the last move, the Gator roll choke, this move is kind of the same thing. You're blocking the hand. You're holding the hand in place. If you're holding the hand in place, there's no way the arm's going to get through. If you're holding a hand, it doesn't matter if the arm gets through, because if it gets through, they can't grab with the other. Like, because I need to bring this arm. So, give you that visual. So if I'm here, posting out, I'm gonna put my pressure here on the guy, right? If I'm here and I get this hand through, I still need to get this hand to clasp onto it. So if your opponent grabs your wrist here and holds onto it, they may even be able, this is a common way to deal with this position too, is to grab the wrist. So I block the wrist, I grab the wrist, 2-on-1, I push it forward, pull it over this side, and then just lean up, right? Because if I'm here, my opponent moves my arm from here to here, then there's not really anything stopping you from coming out the back and sitting up. Now we're both on our knees, and it's kind of a scramble. So we like scrambles. For you people who are good on your feet, that's a good way to make a scramble, right? If you're rolling with a big guy like me, you don't want me on top of you as much as humanly possible. So it's all about scrambling. Okay. So again, you're going to base what you're doing kind of on what your opponent's letting you do, because that's a thing. If you were in a fight and your opponent just tried to get up and you were in front and you jump on his back, sprawl on his back, grab a choke of some sort, like, is he wearing a jacket? Go for a loop choke. Is he just wearing a t-shirt? Go for a Gator roll. Darce chokes take a second to set up. Gator rolls are much quicker, and I would say somewhat more brutal, in my opinion. But in those situations, it's real easy. This is the defense portion, by the way, of the class. It's real easy to just keep defending these, right? Your opponent comes in and they're trying to move. You know what they're doing. You can feel what they're doing with their hands. It's when they come in real super quick and drive something through and you didn't have a chance to block it. That's when the real problem happens. The Gator roll is pretty easy to defend against in that respect. But if they get it nice and cinched in, it's going to be real tough, because all you can really do is try to sprawl back yourself. So it's like, if somebody Gator rolled me, right, and I'm here like this and they're trying to crunch everything, the first thing I'm going to try to do is with this top hand, I'm going to try to push on their hip, right? So that's creating space right there. I'm trying to push on their hip. I'm done here. There isn't a whole lot I can do here. So I'm trying to push on their hip. The next thing I want to try to do is I want to try to get my head down as far as I can so that I can come to my back and I'll be on top of them. Right? And then I'm going to try to scoot up until I break open their hands. Or I'm going to try to open this up until I break. I'm just really trying to open up more because I'm like on top of their chest at this point. But even then, it's always a battle. Don't think this is easy. It's always a battle. So on the gator roll part, push on the hip, right? And try to get to your back so you can get away that way. If you're in it on the Darce choke, the only real way to defend the Darce choke is this hand here, okay? This hand here, it's real important where is it at? Because this is the hand that's going to end up choking you. That's why if their body's up against this, it's real bad for you. If they give you any space at all when they shoot for a Darce, you get that arm out and you bring it over their body. If you can get this arm to their body, there's no way they're going to Darce you. It can't. They cannot get that. If you try to go low though and try to block down here, you're done. All right. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to come high. You're trying to get this arm out and then go high up on their body like this. Because again, the Darce needs this. Okay. The Darce needs this. You're trying to go high. Okay. It's hard to show exactly the good defense without somebody here trying to choke me. But again, just imagine somebody's got their arm deep underneath my armpit. It's going across my neck. They've got their hand over my head. They're trying to push my head down. And I'm trying real hard to stay back so they don't get their arms in completely. And I'm just trying to, if you're here, here's what I would suggest. Here's another thing I'd suggest. If you can't get this arm out, remember the rule. It's easier to move yourself than it is to move your opponent. That's always the number one rule. It's easier to move yourself than it is to move your opponent. So if I'm here like this, I'm actually going to kind of reverse shrimp away a little bit, creating space. Now I should be able to get this arm inside and I'm fine. All right. So again, my opponent's tied up on me. He's here like this. I can't get this arm where I want it to go. So I'm going to put this foot in here like this. I'm going to reverse shrimp or just shrimp and get that arm inside. Now I've got that arm inside. The choke is gone. Okay. Okay. So now let's talk about a fairly unorthodox position called the crucifix. And I'm only going to show you how to get here. I'm not going to do too much from the crucifix because there's a lot of things you can do from the crucifix. But I'm just going to show you kind of like the MMA type stuff. All right. So if I'm here, right, if I'm in this position, the sprawled position that I told you about, my legs back like this, my other leg is here. I'm basically trying to tempt my opponent into grabbing my leg. So let's say he grabs my leg. So Bob here grabs my leg. So all I got to do is come in with my other leg. Now I've got that arm trapped. Okay. So it's hard to see, but I get this arm trapped in between my legs. And then once I get this arm trapped in between my legs, all I have to do from here is take that overhook and switch it from inside to outside. And then I just roll backwards like this. And now, come on, Bob. Now I'm in the crucifix position. All right. So see how this arm is trapped by these legs, and this arm was trapped by this one. So to show the MMA version of this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you, like if I've got this arm trapped with these legs, okay, ideally figure fouring at the top, because if I figure four at the bottom, then I can, that leg has a point of attack that's closer to the body. So on a figure four at the top, like this, and I'm here, okay? So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch to this arm here, and I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put my hand behind my head like this. Okay. So my hand turn to the side here so I can show this from a good angle. Sorry about that. Hard to maneuver with that heavy bag and the bob over the heavy bag. I did not see that. Okay. Okay. So I grabbed this arm, grabbed this arm. All right. So now I'm going to take, where I was here, I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to grab it like this. And then I'm going to come up and put my hand on my head like this. Now they're stretched out. And if I was in MMA, real easy. I don't want to go like this because then they just pull this arm down on my arm and then they, it's just a back and forth kind of thing. Plus, if I get this arm here like this, then all I have to do is feed this to here like that, and then I can do this choke, right? This is a choke from the back. So, man, it's never a good position, is it? Now I gotta go the other way. Okay, try it from this side so you guys can see it. So, figure 4 up at the top. All right, step 1. Step 2, when I came over, I was here because of the overhook. I'm going to switch to this one. All right, I'm going to feed the gi to the other hand like this. And then once I'm here, this hand goes up behind the head and chokes. Okay, gi, crucifix choke of a choke that you already know. All right, so one more time, I'll show you the entry into that, and hopefully it makes sense for you guys. So I'll show it from the other side, because everybody has a preference side. So I'll show you from that side. So if Bob's here, and I'm on Bob like this, and he reaches to grab my leg, mistake, because he's grabbing inside. You remember from our earlier classes, if you watched any of those, you never want to grab the inside leg. You always want to grab the outside leg. All right? So, and remember what I said earlier, this overhook prevents that from happening on this side. So he grabs for this leg here, like this. So I go, okay, and I set up the figure 4, and I'm here already, so I can switch to this position here, and I can fall back, not that way, fall this way, and actually figure 4ing the correct way. It's going to be at the top. All right, there we go. Now it's easy to fall correctly. Woo. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. This machine. Super annoying. Bob does this all the time. Trying to flip him around and get into my positions. And then my back extension falls down. Keep your legs up. Okay. And, well, you saw the rest of what I did. So, and if you didn't, let me finish that. So, he grabs for that leg. I'm going to hook it up with this leg. Okay. And I'm going to figure 4 on the outside to here. Then I'm going to lean back like this. I swear. Like this. So I've got that crucifix. Reach around the head, grab for that lapel, helping that lapel, keeping the elbow down, head behind the head, and pull, okay? So remember that move is all about hand in, elbow down, arm up, push on the back of the head and pull. Easy choke, okay? Now you can do that one from the back you want a little more on that specific choke, I do go over that in detail on the back stuff that I did earlier. So that's all up on YouTube if you want to check that out. So that leads into this move. So that's a mistake that you can make your opponent make and being a way better. Basically, it's a mistake to a finish, to a checkmate. If you're a chess person, a blunder, as they say, that would be a blunder. So if I put my knee here and he grabs that knee like this, thinking, oh, I got him. You don't got him. You got a crucifix is what you got. So you grab that leg. I come in here and I scoop it up and I throw that crucifix. Okay. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Hope that was informative for you and had good information. If you have any questions, please feel free to send a comment. I'd probably suggest comment on YouTube because I don't know if I'll get comments to me on Facebook. So just, yeah, YouTube if you have a question. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be on here at 6, from 6 to 6:40. Come to my Zoom if you want me to work directly with you. And if you want to just watch, come to Facebook. So have a good day, guys. I'll see you later.